Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel.
Well, hello. This is Erica with Miley Scraps. Welcome back to my channel. I am back today with a 12 by 12 process video, and I'm super duper excited to be a part of my very first ever YouTube hop. And the group that's putting it on is the Paper Crafting YouTubers group over on Facebook. And the August theme is Campfires and Kayaks. And of course, I'll be linking all of the channels of the crafters that are going to be a part of this hop down below so that you can have probably many hours of scrapbooking fun or card making. I think I saw some people maybe making cards as well. So there should be a lot of crafty goodness for you. So definitely check out the other channels for sure. I would also like to thank Rachel Tallman for allowing me to be a part of this. I'm super excited about it. And when I saw the theme, I was definitely like, I have a page for this. I have a story to tell for that theme specifically. So I'll tell the story here a little bit later. But again, thank you guys so much for putting this together and for letting me be a part. So as I was just talking away, I was just cutting up some paper. I wanted to use that bright yellow. I had that Adventures. It just didn't work out for me. So I kind of got a muted yellow and a green to try to pull out the yellow and green in the kayaks in the picture. So my family and I, we decided to go on a last minute spring break trip to West Monroe, Louisiana. And we rented out this Airbnb that was super cute. It was a dock house. That's all I know to call it. I don't know if that's the right name, but it was literally, a dock where you would normally park your boats. And they had like a 1-room bedroom there that had like a bed and then a pull out. So we fit, and it was super cute. It was peaceful. The area was beautiful, and they had kayaks, they had fishing poles. So we had a blast. So my kids decided that they wanted mom to go out on the kayak. Well, I'm not an outdoorsy girl, so I was like, okay, I'll get out there and I will tootle around a little bit and spend some time with the kids and then get out. So they didn't have like a regular life jacket that would fit me. I should have put one of the orange ones over my neck, but I didn't. I literally thought I was going to be tootling for 5 seconds. Well, it didn't work out that way. So my daughter and my son and I, we were just, tootling around. And then my daughter decided she was going to do something different. And my son and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a cool mom. That's really what I thought. And so I'm like, we're going to, let's go to this peak over here. Well, little did I know, and of course I didn't know this water at all, or, how bad the current would be, or maybe how big of a weakling I am. I'm not positive. But we got to the peak, and that's where the current started picking up. So my son and I were kind of talking. He's like, Mom, I think we need to get back. This current's really kind of taking us. And I'm like, I think you're right. So I'm not an outdoor sportsy girl, so I had never been in a kayak before. In fact, I had always said I didn't want to, and the only reason I was in this one is because my feet didn't go in it, because there's a big fear there that I would get stuck in it. Anyways, I was like, okay, so I started, we started to turn around, and we were having to fight the current. Well, I kept doing something weird with my paddle, and it was making me swing around. And so I tried several times, and I'm like, son, honey, you're going to have to just go back and get dad and tell him that mom can't get back, because I don't know what I'm doing. And so he was trying to show me what I was doing, but it just wasn't working. Every time I would get to going and I'm thinking, okay, I've got this. And then it would flip around. And so long story short, he tried to tie a little rope. Like, I didn't have my cell phone. I was not prepared for this at all. And so there was a little rope on the end of one of the boats, and he tried, bless his heart, to tie that on so that I could be towed by him and possibly not be twisting around, with whatever I was doing with my oar. So anyways, he finally decided, okay, mom, the rope didn't work, number one. And then I was like, son, honey, you're going to have to go without me. And he's like, Mom, I don't want to leave you. And I'm like, I know, honey, but we really just have no other choice at this point. So he agreed, and he started, fight. And at that point we had floated even further. Right. And I'm like, we're just getting further and further away. And so, he started fighting the current, and he got back. And so I'm literally just floating down the river. I might as well have been whistling. I wasn't scared. I wasn't afraid for my life. I was just like, this stinks. And my husband is not going to be happy because at this point he's got to figure out how to come and find me. So anyways, I was just, floating away. There was one moment when something jumped up out of the water, and it definitely scared me because I wasn't sure what was in the water. But anyways, kept floating away, and I was like, okay, do I go to the side? I'm like, no, there might be snakes in those trees because both sides of the river were lined with trees. And so I just kept floating, and pretty soon I was coming to a point where I was going to have to, the boat was going to float to the right because it was like, it was around a bend. And so there was some houses there. So I was like, hello, is anybody there? Well, that house kind of looked like it was under construction. So then I saw a boat dock. I was like, okay, I'm going to get over there to that boat dock. Well, I did. And okay, I could not get myself, I'm not a little girl. Those things are definitely hard to keep steady and stable. And so I was trying to get my butt out of that thing without tipping it over because I wasn't sure what was in the water. Anyways, I finally decided, okay, that ain't happening. So I start hollering. I'm like, hello, is anybody there? Because I thought, okay, if I could just use a cell phone, I could, call Joel and tell him, hey, I need help and this is where I'm at. Well, so I had paddled up to the bank at that point. And when I was hollering, I saw somebody behind a tree over to my right, and they were kind of looking back and forth, like wondering what in the world I was doing, probably thinking I was an intruder. And then I hear this pop, like it's a gun or something. I don't know. I mean, that's what it sounded like to me. So I was like, oh my goodness. So number one, I'm floating definitely in the wrong direction and I can't get back. And now that sounded like a gun. I'm like, I went to Louisiana and now am I going to get to go home? I was like, now I'm going to get shot at. Anyway, so I just hushed at that point and I thought, okay, at some point I got to get out of this boat, but I couldn't get out of it even at the bank. So I just went back I turned around and started floating just directly back to the boat dock, and I heard a boat and I turned around. I was like, oh, thank goodness Joel found a boat and he's here to help me. Well, I started waving and they come over, and it's not my husband. It is a gentleman, and there was a police officer in the boat, and there was they were a firefighter and an EMT. Y'all, I was so embarrassed. The minute that boat turned off, I started apologizing over and over and over, and then they had to help my big butt. I'm sorry, but they had to help my big butt get up out of that boat, and then they had to bring the boat up. And when I got onto the boat, the gentleman which was the neighbor to the people that we were renting the Airbnb from, and he let them use his boat. So apparently his son, because I guess I did miss a part. So like my son, I heard him before I went around the bend. I heard him scream, and I'm screaming at him from where I was. I'm like, don't scream. But he said, I thought that's what you said, but I just kept screaming. So first of all, he was saying, help me, God, because he was getting tired. His boat was taking on water, and he was struggling. And then he started screaming, Dad, help me. And after the third time and Joel didn't see him, he called 911. So anyways, the gentleman, when I got on the boat, he was like, so apparently his son had heard it on the radio because I guess several different parishes were there. I believe that's what it's called. Long story short, he had called 911, and the son called the dad and said, Dad, let them use your boat. Well, he took them and brought them to me and helped, get me back. But he was like, and no life jacket. And I'm like, I know. He was so kind and sweet. Like he taught boaters safety and stuff. So I was like, I know, I was raised, not on the lake, but we went to the lake all the time, and there was always life jackets. And I was just apologizing, and the police officer would never, like, he had his arms crossed. He was not happy with me. And the other two guys, like, it's okay, that's what we're here for, that's our job. And then when we got back, of course, after I hugged my husband and my kids, I walked back up, and this gentleman was like, did you learn your lesson today? I'm like, I absolutely did. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to do that again. And he said, well, we could ticket you because you have to wear a life jacket, in the state of Louisiana. And I was like, I know, I'm so sorry, I did not plan for any of this to happen. And he said, well, we're not going to do that today. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much. And the others were kind of, it wasn't the same officer, but they were not happy with me. And I can understand why they wouldn't be. But I felt super awful for having to use all of those resources because I wasn't in danger, or I didn't feel in danger. You know, and I was just literally floating down the river in the wrong direction. You know, I couldn't get back. So anyways, once we got done talking to that officer, we turned around and there was the news crew with their camera. I'm like, nope, not today. So long story short, we ducked around the back of the houses and we went back to our Airbnb and we got pizza that night. And my son slept amazingly because he was so tired, bless his heart. But he said, Mom, I couldn't see you. You were becoming just this little bitty dot and I just couldn't see you anymore. So I got scared, and then he was tired. But long story short, we can laugh at it now. It wasn't real funny then. And my daughter had called the moms and they were scared. They had called the church, and you know, because my daughter had used the words that mom's lost in swift waters and we can't find her. So long story short, it was very interesting, and I've taken this whole video to tell you the story, but I do want to thank you for coming by and watching. And definitely see the list in the description below of all the other YouTubers that are a part of this hop. And I hope that you'll go and support them and watch their videos. I know that you'll get a lot of crafty inspiration. And again, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. And I look forward to being a part of more. This page, again, was very simple. I just used a lot of stuff in my stash. I had bought that kayaking paper from a scrapbooking store in a town near us. And I'm actually going to go to that scrapbook store here in a couple of weeks, so I'm excited about that. Tons of scrapbooking stuff. But I do want to thank you again for coming by and watching, and I definitely hope that you'll go down and watch all the other crafters as they craft for this YouTube hop and support their channels. I hope that you have a wonderful Saturday and that you're able to get crafty yourself. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.